Hey Steve,
Hi.
I wonder how you get involved voicing Orochimaru in Naruto?
You like Orochimaru? How did that come about for me?
Yeah.
Well, I ate the previous actor. No, I auditioned for it like everything else, and it was just a fun, cool character. I think that was the first voice I tried. It just made sense. They just wanted lots of S's because he was sort of snaky, so that was the direction I would always get is, when I'm talking about Sasuke, make sure to have a lot of gas release. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's it going, Steve?
Very well.
I gotta say, first off, your best character of all time, in my opinion, is Grayson Hunt from Bulletstorm.
Oh, thank you.
Really underrated video game.
Thank you.
Now, you've done a lot of different strange accents, foreign accents as time has gone on. Some excellent, some not as good. So, I gotta say, I can always kind of tell that it's you, though. I always kind of hear like a certain tag that your voice has. So have you done any formal training with foreign accents at all, or is it just something you kind of wing it?
No, I just
want to
wing
get
it.
your bad accents now.
Well, there's something to choose from. I would say that Zeb from Star Wars Rebels is like a bad UK accent. Because there's a little bit of Australian, there's a little bit of South London, a little bit of Northern England. Yeah, I just do amalgamations of accents, and I did study recently with Eliza Jane Schneider, who's an amazing dialectician, and I started learning the right way to do accents. I've been doing it by ear all this time. But the problem is that in a lot of voiceover, they want you to do the stereotypical accents, or the bad accents that we're used to hearing in America, because we suck. And a lot of us haven't traveled, so we don't know what the right accent really should be. So I came into the studio to do an Irish accent recently, and I had studied with Eliza, and I had my a really good Irish accent down, which I can't do right now because I haven't practiced for a while. But I came in and it was sort of, you know, it was authentic but subtle type of thing. And she goes, and the director goes, "No, we want the Lucky Charms guy." And I went, "All right, here we go," and it went right back into the leprechaun again. So sometimes we're directed that way. So I'm gonna say that most of the bad accents you heard, I was probably directed that way. Probably not true, but I'm gonna say that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Great radio voice, by the way. Available for limited time only at participating dealers. Terms, conditions, or restrictions apply. Buy now, get a free set of Ginsu knives guaranteed for life. And your question.
Are you my spot guy? No. So I come from a musical background as well in the singer. So I was wondering if you had any specific routines before, during, and after any strenuous vocal recording sessions.
Yes, that is class number 2, I believe, at BlueBoxStudios.com.
No, it's only $30.
Exactly. No, it is there too. It's $30. You get 12 classes already. It's amazing. Go there. Anyway, warm-up exercise. I did a whole class on warm-up exercises, warm-ups and cool-downs. And the one that I do most frequently, because I don't have much time, is basically the thing we've been doing since we were babies, which is the raspberries. I do that as loud and hard and in as many pitches as I possibly can. And it warms up the whole aperture, the muscular area of it, and it also warms up the throat. The other thing that you can do is humming. As deep as you can. It feels good for me. I like that. I speak in deep voices like a Vincent type voice, where it's almost a whisper. It feels good before and after. The other thing to warm up the whole facial structure, because sometimes alliteration is difficult, is I'll do the alphabet and I make really weird faces. And so you have to be unafraid to look really disgusting, because I'll do it in my car and people look at me like I'm having a seizure. But I'll just start going through the alphabet with the vowel sounds, and I'll go baby bye boo, and I just go
Someone make a gif of that.
up and down. Up and down scales. Things that warm up the tongue also with trills. But it's a great exercise. It's easy to remember. You can go through it in a couple of minutes and it really warms up everything. But the most important thing is if you really strain your voice in a session, make sure you shut up afterwards, which is what I should be doing right now because I've been screaming for a week. I did a couple movies where I was screaming this week and then going to Comic-Con and then coming here and talking all day. I should be shutting up, so I'm not taking my own advice. But drink room temperature liquids, nothing with ice in it. No dairy products, no milk particularly before you do a session or after you do a session, because it will create mucus in there and cause problems. No cigarette smoking, no carbonated soda, terrible for you, and no sugar while you're recording. A lot of people will be eating candy in the studio. It's really not good for you. It's not good for the throat. You can actually cause vocal stress if you're screaming and you have that sugar coating in the throat. Be careful. But I use Chinese herbal throat drops. I use these drops called Golden Throat. They really help to soothe it. That's what I had in my mouth when I came up on stage.
You're the third voice actor today to mention those. You're like, where do you get those?
I was kind of the one who
From
introduced
your
that to the
website, don't
community.
you know?
Blue Rock Studios. Yeah, each month in my newsletter, I do a product recommendation. I did a whole product recommendation for that there. But I used to get them in Chinatown, where I live in Los Angeles, and they were very difficult to get back then. Now you can get them online. So just look up Golden Throat drops, and there's a bunch of different remedies too. There's spray remedies, Singer's something, I forgot what it's called, but Saving Grace? Yeah, that's one of them, and there's a bunch of different things, but that's the one that I found most effective, and it actually really helped to calm the pain down too. It's got menthol, eucalyptus and stuff in there, but it's all natural stuff.
Well, I hope you can go back and shut up tonight so that you come back tomorrow and you can scream some more.
I'm gonna try to, do both of those things, yeah.
Yeah, Steve, go back and shut up.
I get that a lot. Go ahead.
Michael Mack, thank you for all your contributions over the years. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you. I'm a lucky guy.
I do stand-up comedy, so I know a lot about dealing with fear and like how it can sometimes just get to you. So thank you for always having the courage to continue to do the work, even though it can be scary. But is it really difficult working with the different companies, because you do things with Cartoon Network, Toonami, which same, whatever. You know, and then you also have some of the animated things. So is it difficult balancing out those different procedures? 'Cause I know they don't do things the same way.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not really, the acting is acting. The difficult part is really just getting the gig. And I audition probably more than I do anything else. The most difficult thing for me is late at night when I'm, the most difficult thing for me is late at night when I'm editing my auditions. Every single company has a different way of doing it. So, you know, some of them want your name and then underscore and then your agency or the character name, whatever. And there's kind of a standard way that I like to do it, but everybody has to put their own print on it. And so at midnight, after I've been recording for 4 hours, after a full day of recording, I have to make sure that I go back to the original email and make sure that I label everything correctly. Oddly enough, that's the most difficult thing. Everything else it's a lot of the people that I've known for years, and a lot of people cross over, even like between the DC and Marvel universes. There are a lot of writers and directors that do both. So it's mostly my friends that I'm working with, and the people that I don't know, I just do the same thing that I always do. You show up on time, you be polite, you be prepared. If you're not right for something, be honest about it. If you think you're right for something that you're not necessarily offered, sometimes it's okay to have the courage to ask about that. And you have to do it politely. Don't say, I want to do that character. Just say, can I try that one over there? And they'll either say yes or no. I did that for a character called Leron from Gurren Lagann. I came in to read for Kamina, or one of the tough guy characters, and I see the picture of Leron over in the corner, and everybody in the room knew me for the tough guy characters or the creatures and things. And so I said, what's that? And they said, oh no, that's not for you. And I want to do that. And they said, fine, just let them do it, fine, it's going to be ridiculous, go ahead. And so I go in there, and the first line I read was, when you screw it in, give it a hard mailing twist. The director of that show is a guy named Tony Oliver, who directed me on many things before, and he goes, oh God, don't book him for the police. And the Japanese client was in there with me, and they hired me for it. And so it paid to ask. So don't necessarily be afraid to ask to do something, because it might turn into something that's super fun for you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's mainly studio etiquette, but just be a good person and be prepared for the job. If you're really not prepared for it or you're not right for it, be honest, and they'll remember that too. They appreciate honesty.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Starscream from Transformers Prime.
You have excellent taste, call me Lord.
So I was just wondering if you could give some favorite moments or maybe some improvisations from your time recording Starscream. I believe you also did it on Robots in Disguise.
Yes.
So,
Oh man, those sessions were so much fun. I talked about Peter and Frank before.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that stands out in my mind was Darren Norris,
oh,
who played Knockout.
Oh, I love Knockout. Oh,
He played Knockout on the show. I used to call him Knock Boots. I've known Darren for years, and he was sitting next to me in this one of the very rare moments that Starscream actually was vulnerable and had an emotional moment. He was pleading for his life and really trying to make a change. You probably remember where that was happening in the series.
Yeah.
And Darren is sitting next to me, and he's eating some string cheese. He opens the thing up, and he tears it into two pieces. And he shoves one half up one nostril, the other half up the other nostril. And I just see this thing in my peripheral vision of this guy just going, wagging the string cheese back and forth, and I just lost it. I started laughing, everybody else in the room started laughing, and I could not function for 5 minutes.
And that's how the community supports each other.
Yes, that's how we support each other. Yeah, we do that kind of stuff all the time. It's hilarious, but it's fun, and it kind of breaks the tension. And I was having a little bit of a rough time with it because Starscream is always such a butthole, you know. But in that moment, he was actually having a real moment, and it just broke the tension of all that. And I came back to it, and it just made it all easier. So.
Just FYI, my girlfriend loves your Starscream too, but she has the habit of calling him the Weasel.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Send her to my
There's the
table.
Weasel boy.
Hey, I'll straighten her out. Send her to my table.
I think Bucket's gonna be staying in our house tonight. So.
Oh, nice, nice. He scares me a little. Hi.
Hi. Kind of mad at myself because I didn't cosplay my character for you today.
You're fired.
Oh, that's right. So a few back in May, we had Animazement here, and we had Watanabe-san here.
I heard that. I missed him. Oh.
He was a really great guy, and in one of his panels, he actually admitted that there were some things in Cowboy Bebop that he actually did regret, so he kind of wished there were some changes on there. Was there any changes that you wish that would happen on Cowboy Bebop, particularly to the ending?
I wish it was still going. Yeah. My wishes for that show would just be maybe a prequel so that we could understand a little more about their lives before the Bebop series. No, I wouldn't change anything. I think it's a masterpiece, the way it was. But I'd like to watch it again. I've only seen it once, and I saw it out of order almost 10 years ago. So I have a feeling if I watch it again, there's going to be all sorts of things like, oh, that wasn't very good. I'll be judging myself, because I think I'm a better actor now, just because I really was learning how to do it. I hope that's not the case. I hope I can get lost in it. I'm able to do that with most shows, but because it was such a pivotal show, I think that's been part of my hesitation to watch it again. So I will watch it again, and I'll give a little analysis of it on Twitter or on my website at bluebugstudios.com. Thank you.
Hey Steve, my name's Eric.
How are you?
Good, thank you for being here today. We all know that Lucasfilm they run a pretty tight ship. When you first started doing Zeb, how much of Zeb is in you? How much influence did Dave have when it came to Zeb's character and the way that he speaks? And did Lucasfilm ever come and put the thumb down and say that he needed to growl more, rip arms out, anything like that?
It's actually a pretty collaborative process with Lucasfilm. Once I made it to the final callbacks, they kind of knew what they wanted for the character. We tried a ton of different voices and dialects. We tried Eastern European and German and French and a whole bunch of different things until we found what clicked. They just wanted to hear it all before we did it. They knew that it was going to be an important character of the series and it would become canon, so they spent a lot of time doing that. That said, my first audition as Zeb, he wasn't even called Zeb, I didn't know it was Star Wars, but just based on the description of the character, I started out with like a heavy Cockney accent. It was Zeb, but it was rather unintelligible, you know, it was really tough back there in the throat and very difficult to understand. So they wanted to sort of build on that. They loved it, but they said, I can't understand a damn word you're saying, I'm sorry. So he just wanted me to clean it up and put some more flavors in there that would make it a little bit different, a harder place. They didn't want a definable accent because he's from space. He's from, you know, Lausanne. But it was a collaborative effort, and when there were things that I didn't feel right that was written for me, because it was a bunch of different writers, they would let me do what I wanted. I would always do it as written once, and then I would say, oh, I think we need another Carabast here, and they'd say, go for it. Sure, yeah, whatever you want to do. Or even with the troopers, you know, a lot of the affectations of the characters, there was a trooper that would maybe be in a battle scene and would be hit, and there wouldn't be anything that would really indicate pain from the guy. And I said, no, that hurt. And I just go, oh! And they go, yeah, do that. That's good. I don't remember ever getting a thumbs down necessarily, unless I was just doing something ridiculous. You know, unless I voiced Zeb as Leron, you know, then it's
Go ahead.
no, you can't do that. Carabas time. Ah. You know, well,